friend Miguel and I really wanted cafe racer motorcycles, so we hopped on Facebook Marketplace and bought these two motorcycles. Both 1979, one is a Honda CB400T Hawk, and the other one is a Suzuki GS550E. So we went and took our motorcycle learning class, we both passed, and we both got our driver's license updated, so now we can really get into fixing these bikes up so we can ride them. Okay, cool. So, freshly cleaned carb, put back on. New boots for the new carb. Airbox and everything, put back on. We got back under here. Ooh.
We'll edit that out.
New battery, new choke cable, Android Auto and CarPlay, added that. New dials for that. Front and rear cameras. Yeah, we can turn on the lights. So all the dials and everything work. Only thing that doesn't is the flashers, and that is because the unit that does the flashing broken. Ordering a new one of those. We removed the front tire. We already removed the rear tire last time.
New tires are bought. Basically, on this first update of a 4-month project where you haven't seen most of the work, that Chance has done, and I've been there for moral support and the whole tools at times. Lots been going done, lots been getting done, a lot of money being spent. You'll see it at the end, like always, but we're both excited. I got a Honda, Chance got a Suzuki.
Yeah, so his brand new tires we just put in his car. He's gonna go get those swapped out tomorrow. We'll be able to transition back to when those are back on, or when we're putting those on. Oh yeah, also fresh brand new spark plug. We did check for spark. We got good spark for compression. Let's just turn it off for the sake. Does have some pretty good compression.
New drive chain.
Oh yeah, new chain, because look how old, rusty this old one is. We got new oil filter, and we'll replace that with brand new oil. You attempted to get the tire off for a very long time.
Yeah, I tried to get the tire off with the crowbar. I probably burn more calories than I do on my Peloton. We gave up. Again, like Chance said, I'm gonna take it in tomorrow morning to a shop so they can get my tire switched out. Same rims, but. And
then we also noticed the front drums. Don't know what that powder is, but we're not gonna breathe it, so might be time for new brake. I imagine that's not supposed to come off, but if it is, we'll Google that, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to. New headlight is on the way. Need to reshim the clutch. That's nice.
Clutch. We probably also need new handles on both.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one's gone. Neutral light is working. That is nice. We've already tested this. This thing works really nice for 80 bucks. We haven't used it, but I already like it. And choke's good.
Jesus Christ.
Not going. You're lifting up, right? Do you want the impact?
I mean, I'm such a baby. I'm not a baby. Oh wait, I got it. It's a Jesus.
Yep, now careful, oil is going to spill downwards. Ugh. Oh, that looks brand new, dude.
Look, it's doing that thing where it doesn't move at all. What's that called?
Laminar. Yeah, dude, someone put brand new oil in this before we did this.
Probably the dude we bought it from.
Yeah, probably. But, do you think he put a new filter in?
No.
That's what we're doing. Oh, and you want to turn the kickstand over a few times, see if more gurgles out? That's what they said to do in the manual. I think you need to stand on it, dude. That's good, and it's probably fine.
This one?
Yep, that's the one. You had it right. Pull towards you. Oh God!
Jesus Christ!
Okay, try that again. I got it. Oh, you got it. Yep.
Okay.
Someone had a fun time tightening that on.
Yeah. Been a cool way to die.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of looks like a new filter.
Me and poli-sci majors when they have to do any physical labor. It does look new.
Yeah, it looks identical to the one we just bought. Yep, that's a brand new filter, dude. Nice. Well, do you want to put the new one, the known new one in there? Or do you just want to keep the new one in there?
It's like not going to make any difference.
No. Yeah, just put it back. Well, we wouldn't have known that unless we did it, so.
Yeah. This feels very like I'm jerking off, so. Okay, I think it's on. This is what I imagine gasoline look like. The gasoline looks like water.
You're like dripping a lot on the ground right now.
Bro.
Yeah.
So
you want to be
I gotta
right
go
here.
there,
yeah.
you know.
You got a whole nother quart to go.
Okay, then I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. You're gonna take this. You're gonna put it right there, which is the inlet to the carbs. Yeah. Push it over it. There you go. Now turn the bottle up. And squeeze it. Yeah, just do that a few times. You're filling up the carb bowls right now. No bubbles come through. You know it's full. The lights are on. You want to try and kickstart it? Go on the other side. Try and kick it. Oh, hold up. Let's get in gear. Oh, is this thing not on?
Yeah,
Here, hold that up.
I fucked it.
Oh. There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Now it's on, man.
Yep, now kick it. It might take a few tries. Oh, hold on. We gotta put choke on. Yep, go ahead. Yep. Yeah, go.
Is it on?
Let me... Get a little bit.
Oil on my hands.
It's not warmed up enough yet.
Yeah.
But here, let me put the choke on again. Kick it one more time. What do you think?
I'm excited. I'm very excited. My neighbors are gonna be mad, but that's life. So, quick update. Remember when I tightened it last time? Didn't tighten it, all the oil leaked out, wasted $8 refilled it, retightened it.
Use a torque wrench on it so we know it's exact.
Got my Guatemalan uncle, no relation, to fix the rear brake. He did that real quick. He's supposed to just come and chill, but you know, Hispanics, we put him to work.
No, you can't keep that. Can't keep it.
I'm Hispanic, it's okay, it's okay.
We actually got the rear spacer for the tire on, because for some reason it was missing that spacer right there. It's now on, it's all tightened. Cotter pins are on, front one is on and tightened. Both front and rear brakes work now. Headlights on.
Clutch got fixed.
It's a little bit wiggly still, but it's a lot better. Electrical is all tidied up. Wires are all tidied up. Rear backup camera works now. Everything is back together. I think, oh yeah, brand new chain. Chain guard's on now. We had to cut the length, so that's all good now. And, oh yeah, I forgot to even mention this.
I have blinkers.
We have turn signals now. Didn't have that before. So yeah, I mean, set it to run, give her a kick, and see if the rear tire spins when we change it out of neutral. See how many kicks it takes. Oh, choke.
Oh.
Yep. Okay. We adjusted the carb. I need to adjust it the other way. I think maybe too much fuel. We added a little bit more because it didn't run good enough last time. Okay, let me adjust that real quick. Light bulb plugged in. Carbs tuned, or not tuned, but they're changed by quarter turn. So we need to start doing it eighths after this if this gets better.
Alright.
Okay, now kick it. Hey dude, that runs a lot better. Okay, so now I know where the idle screw is. It's right underneath. So we can actually put the seat cover back on. I don't know, you want to see if it moves? You want to bring it to the front yard? It's front yard time, dude.
Yeah, we're there.
Turn it off, let's go. I just realized why this is...
Is there a hole?
Yeah, it's leaking. It's coming out of the valve stem. Yeah, it's back at 0. It leaked all the air I just put in it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So...
It's flat again.
Did you get all that? Or...
Yeah. And the rear tire has a pinhole, because the guy we brought it to didn't put this on right, and it leaks right at the valve stem. And so that's, even though it's up to 24, which is supposed to be at 32, is right back down to 0 as soon as I stop filling it up. That's great.
Is it Saturday?
Yeah, today's a Saturday. You just gonna bring it back to him and be like, dude, flat.
No, there's another guy.
We're just gonna do one little lap right here because the back tire is, wow, I don't know about that, dude. Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, clearly we're not driving it, but do you want to move it like 5 feet under power? That won't ruin it.
Just like on the clutch.
Yeah. Rev it up, first gear.
It's taking me back to class, bro.
Yeah.
It's taking me back to class.
Rev it up.
I don't have the grip. I really don't have the grip.
You want me? Can I get a shot?
Yeah. The back tire is so flat.
Yeah, that's good, dude. Okay, now he wants to do it really badly too. I think it's just because this bottle creates a vacuum in the carb, and then it just starves itself of fuel. So fuel tank is next to fix.
My hand's so sweaty. I can't get
yeah, we do need a grip on it.
I need a grip on it. Alright, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we fixed the old fuel filter that doesn't look like it's for this bike on there. Yeah, show them how we have to get to a gas cap now.
Yeah, so basically, since, you know, I'm living in 2 centuries, literally.
You gotta flip up your screen first.
Yeah, flip up the screen on the 1979 bike to get to the rusted fuel cap.
Yeah, it's just a bit rusty. Yeah. Tip it, then put it in.
Go.
Yeah, there.
I see.
Yeah, we'll only put maybe like, I'll tell you when fuel comes through. Oh, there's fuel coming into the fuel filter. Oh, there's fuel coming down into it. Oh yeah, dude, there's some old fuel in there. Yeah, we gotta do this properly at one point. There we go. That loop is gonna be suffice for now. Turn that. Yeah, and by the way, you only need to turn this off. You're not gonna be riding it for a while.
Okay.
If you're doing that, turn it off and then keep the bike running until it runs out of fuel. That way, so no fuel is staying in the carb.
Forbidden Gatorade.
Yeah, make the bike drink the forbidden Gatorade. Okay, yeah, let's try. Let's put maybe about a gallon in there.
This is a what? 2 gallon?
Yeah, it's about half of it. We got enough in there. It's fine. There you go. Now kick it up and see if it runs on its own tank. Oh! Oh no, dude! Yo, you get up from the other side. Yep, go for it. Go, clutch and brake.
The brakes do not work. I was squeezing the fuck out of the front and I was pressing on the back.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to give it a try then. I don't believe that. Yeah, that doesn't work at all. That's not good. That's idling.
Oh yeah.
That's just idling. The front ones work, the rear ones absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Got a recording.
Yeah, I got a recording leak. We just tried to fill it up with air again and it's not holding. There's no leak now.
So take this lesson. Put your tools and your vehicles through abuse. Sometimes it fixes the problem. Drop the bike. drive 0.1 miles on the bike with the flat tire.
We got 0.1 on it now on a flat, so.
That's the lesson.
Okay, do it again. You've got air in the tires that are both the correct pressure. You got fuel in your fuel tank, actually in the tank.
I'm using the front brake completely.
It's not stopping. Oh, it's certainly higher now.
Yeah.
I can push it and that brake's fully on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's new brake time, dude.
yeah, brakes are fucked, but I mean shot. Family YouTube channel. But there he goes. He hasn't fallen yet. You guys know that cinema rule, show don't tell? This is the opposite. I'm against that. So currently he's going around the cul-de-sac. Now he's coming back up. I'ma show. Can you see that little black dot? Probably gonna cut this. It's not happy. It's not happy. Yeah, you know gravity. Or try starting it again. All right, guys, I'm gonna put the camera down and help him out. Oh wait, no, I'm not. All right, guys, I'm putting the camera down and helping him out. Yeah, pushing time.
Oh, I have the brake. I'm an idiot.
What's cinematics?
Yeah, I think the carb just ran out of fuel at the end, actually. Big air bubble. Let's put some more gas in here. I think that's why it didn't like coming back up the street.
Just ran out?
Yeah, I think it was just straight up out of gas. Yeah, Miguel, I know what's wrong with it.
Fuel efficiency?
What do you think of that?
1979 pre-EPA.
All the way to the top. Okay, we got the air out of the fuel line. If you were number 177, and I mean that 00177 at Clemson University, and you had a tag that expired 891, let us know, because we bought your bike. Okay.
We know you crashed it and it's okay.
yeah, we found the signs. Oh, it's so much better. Throttle did you get up to?
Probably just like a quarter. I can't tell if it's because of my sweaty hands or because something's wrong with the bike, but it definitely, this is emotion.
Oh, okay. Well, let me give it one spin. I'll figure out where it is, and then we'll tune the carb adjusting.
Basically, on other motorcycles, you can hold in clutch when you turn it on, but on this type of motorcycle, you cannot do that for some reason. I do wonder how the tire fixed itself. I don't want to be driving one day and then it's all messed up and then I, do a front flip. I'm kind of adverse to front flips. Never did them on the trampoline, but that's just me.
There's certainly nothing above half throttle. There's nothing. It starts doing that little bit of a hiccup. Anything below that, it's fine. Have you been looking at this?
No, not at all, bro.
So yeah, no, it works mostly fine. It takes a few seconds to register. I'm not gonna lie. So you'll be moving, you'll speed up, it won't be doing anything, and then it'll move up after a second. Nice. It lives in the corner for now. We just want to preface that we're not experts. We're not professionals. We're not even intermediate. We're beginners. We got our license like a month and a half ago.
We got our license a month and a half ago. I forgot everything, as you can see, but when I dropped the motorcycle on me.
Yeah, that would have failed your class if you did that.
I'm a beginner in every aspect of my life.
Yeah, we literally bought bikes for $600 and $500, thought we'd fix them, and we thought we'd use them. Yep. So yeah, there's no intelligence in these heads.
Empty.
Yeah, so take that with a lot more than a grain of salt.
Yeah, the whole thing, like Judas.
Yeah, the whole bottle.
Whole bottle, Morts.
We have a 1979 Suzuki GS550E, and what's sitting on the table in front of me is the carbs. I began working on this 4 months ago. I took it all apart, cleaned it all out, realized I needed to order some carb parts, got busy with some other projects which you've already seen. Some you actually haven't, which I guess is good. This has been on the back burner, but I finally got a carb kit. This is brass tubing, this is copper tubing. Brass tubing because I realized the copper tubing wasn't gonna work. Now, I'm just gonna grab this part of the carb and I'm gonna show you this. See this little guy? The little pickup tube? Yeah, these just come right out. They're not supposed to come right out. So after cleaning this all down, I realized the last person who was in this carb messed up big time in a lot of ways. 3 out of the 4 pickup tubes are damaged. That is exactly what this is. And the reason why I can't use the copper tubing is because apparently copper has a reaction with gasoline inside the carbs, which is why everything is brass, hence brass. So the goal is to remake this part right here by cutting this down to length. And how do we know what right length it is? We have miraculously one carb that is not damaged. Yeah, this one pickup tube is the right length. It has a side hole right here and a hole right at the top. And I just happen to have drills that exact same size. And by so happen, I mean I went out and purchased them. What a coincidence. One thing about carb cleans is I may have already committed a cardinal sin, which is I separated all of the carbs from each other. And the reason why that's a bad thing is now these carbs are not synced. And that means that when you pull the throttle back, each one of them is not getting the same amount of vacuum inside of them. Each is not getting the same amount of vacuum. It's not pulling the same amount of fuel per each of them. I purchased a carb sync kit, basically just 4 vacuum gauges that just read what the vacuum is. That's it, that's all they do. So that's gonna be later, but for today, we're putting everything back together. So this guy, look at that. See that hole right there? This is a good one. It doesn't have a hole in it. It doesn't have this weird crimping. Whoever was in this last, but it looked like they didn't know that there's a pin inside that retained these, and someone tried to pull at it with a pair of needle nose, broke those off. I'm surprised it's not broken anymore. And one of these has the threads on side of it completely stripped out. And you're probably wondering, oh yes, I probably bought a new one of these. I didn't, because the cost of just this singular tube right here has cost the entire carb kit for price comparison. And the other part of it, this carb is from a 1979 bike, but this is the E variant of the 550E. It's also the 550EN variant, which makes it, funnily enough, not a 1979 carb. And they actually changed carb models in between 79 and 80. This is actually a 1980s carb on a 1979 bike. Who would have guessed? I probably should have noticed when the tires on the bike were from a 1980 when the bike was in 1979. That's literally double my lifetime ago. I can make this work. I have some fixes that I'm going to do with that, but I do have about every single other part in that bag. Oh yeah, I should have already said, I've already cleaned all the carb parts and everything. We're just dusting them off. The other reason why this is out, these guys, not the normal set screws. These are the fuel to air ratio or the air to fuel ratio. Can't remember which one is on this carb. Let's see, where do these go? These go, right here, top of the carb. Head side, which means this is a fuel to air screw. Nice to know. These are not brass. I don't care what anybody tells me. These are not brass. These are like hardened steel. You wanna know how I know they're hardened steel? Because to get these out, you see that giant hole that's in that? Is because I had to put a high-speed steel end mill and a Dremel tool to get that out. Whatever it was, Loctite, whatever gunk they put in that. I had to set, the reason why it's all separated, the carbs, is because when I took it out, I had to heat this up so much with a blowtorch right there. I wanted to make sure all the rubber components were out of here, so I literally didn't catch anything on fire. This gas propane torch on this spot for like 2 minutes. Some of them took 5 minutes. The heads of the screws are way too thin, and they all stripped out my screw extractor. That's why I drilled a hole in it. And considering these were set and never meant to be touched, why am I touching them if they were never meant to be touched? Well, that's because someone threw out the old Airbox, which means none of these settings are correct in the slightest. Here we are. Might as well fix these pickup tubes, which, oh, it was idling weird. Guess what those do? They're idle pickups. At least that's what Google has told me. Place that tubing with this tubing, and I'll show you how I'm gonna fix that. So now, how are we going to fill the top of the hole? Because this brass, the tube, it has a hole in the end, but it needs to be a lot smaller hole than that. What, 2 millimeters? 1.9, close. But it needs to be, whatever we measured, what was that, like 0.6 or whatever. My idea, which is the reason why I originally bought copper tubing, the reason why for that, put solder. Brass can also be soldered because it has copper. Getting out the soldering iron. While that does its thing, measure how deep these holes are. This one is 3.6. So now, solder is warmed up. Retin this. And just like that, hole is filled. Let's see if I can show you that now. Look at that, it's nice and filled. Ooh, very hot still, very hot. Time for a file. For the people wondering why I chose electrical solder, well, one, it wicks into this stuff really good. It's really strong. I'm not worried about it going anywhere else inside the carb. And two, people who are worried about it being a low temp solder, is this carburetor should never, ever get to the melting temperature of the solder. If it does, your bike's on fire. I can feel that it's definitely making a groove on the inside. We're definitely making some progress. There's a tiny little pinhole there now. See on the old one, well, there's a pinhole right down into there. There isn't on the new one. This guy, when I put this in, there's a hole now, and that is what we're aiming for. So far, we've made almost the exact replica of what we ripped out before someone broke it. That looks identical. Both top hole, side hole. I mean, that one's a little bit of an older brass color, while this is a new brass color. See, told you it was gonna work out. So now, I just have to do the same hole method on this one. This guy, slot in there, have the hole at the perfect height. These are now identical heights, identical holes. Same thing as the original. All three of these are exactly identical. The only difference is this guy over here. His is a little bit bent, still got the same bottom hole. Top hole is a little bit further down, but that should be fine. And it's got a slight cracked side. And I'm thinking about just soldering that crack up. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I have two different types of Loctite. 262, 243. So blue or red. Both can be removed with heat, but red is really, really high heat. Well, for the sake that it's never ever supposed to come out, I'm using red. I'm gonna give a good blow. Sure none of those chips are in there. On there. So now, while those are curing, which should take, literally doesn't say. Well, I'm not putting this in the bike anytime soon. So this last carb, it has two issues. One, that thing is chipped right there. And two, that guy has a little hole in it. How are we gonna fix that? You guessed it, we're soldering it back on. I'm probably gonna put a little bit of a solder bead all the way around the edge just because it looks like it's been bent a few times and I really don't want it damaged any further at all. And this is the one with all the messed up threads in it. Do that fillet over here. Ooh, that's very hot. Wow. But that hole is now closed in. Pretty flush too, so I can now hand file that back, which I will do now. Yeah, if this goes bad, I'll just get a new one of these. Like I said, it's around $18 to $25 depending on where you get it. Probably should have just bought one, but I don't know. I wanted to try and repair it first. They're all together. Pull the choke move. Have the main fuel in, the overflows right here, the idle set. Remember that this whole thing had to come apart. The whole reason why is you see how we have these choke screws that are in there? Those have rubber stuff and everything in there. And I had to get this thing so incredibly hot with the torch right here. Each of these, feel the air ratio screws out and it just weren't budging. But yeah, rebuilt the whole thing. Everything that could be adjusted, slightly adjusted, or cleaned, or blah, 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 blah. I'm tired. You might think it's 8:12 p.m. No, that's 8:12 a.m. I've recorded 3 videos today. Good day. I've been waiting to pick back up on this for a few months at this point. And after some research, the guy who sold this to me, after he said that these pod filters would be great, I found out from a lot of evidence, these don't work at all on these types of carburetors. So I'll have to use these for something else. Oh, that's for the starter spray. If you do it right, you really don't need this stuff, which I have found out recently on Miguel's bike. So carbs are all freshly cleaned and fixed according to how I showed you. Slide valves all work nice. The reason why I can't use pod filters on carbs like this, you can use pod filters and everything on carburetors that have just a simple slide valve or a simple butterfly valve, but carburetors like this can't. And it's because of this hole here. Now, what about that hole makes this unique? And it's that these slide valves are not connected to any cable or anything. Unlike how here in the back, if I flip open the butterfly valves, that's a whole separate mechanism than the slide valves. As air comes into the intake, some of that air gets forced into this little hole up here, which operates the diaphragm, opens up the slide valve and lets more air in. Now they do that so that when air is pulled in, the velocity is held constant. That way, so it's for emissions and stuff. And anyway, but these carbs are built to have to use those. So it's not like you can just, strap them all the way open so you have full power all the time. It's not how those ones work. It does moderate the amount of airflow in and out of the carb. And if you have a pod filter on, it lets as much air as these carbs can take in. And that means that the air can come in from pretty much all angles. Really non-restrictive. Really, compared to an Airbox, it's way less restrictive. And so say you put an Airbox on, it restricts the amount of airflow directly into this hole. It doesn't allow air to come in from the sides and everything to bypass this hole, and actually allows air to go into there and pull up in the valve. Because with regular pod filters, they won't do that. And since the guy I bought this bike from threw away the Airbox, I had to go eBay hunting. Here, this is used manifold off of a 1978, not a 1979. Apparently, this is all the same and everything, so we don't need to worry about that. But it's missing a few screws. I don't want this part. It's actually really, really gross. I'm gonna actually swap it out with my good one that's really clean. But this is what we need. And actually, I don't know if see from there. Look at the hole there. That's big. That gets narrow, that gets narrow, that gets big. And the reason why that's fine is because of how cut off those 2 outer ones get. So they're gonna get less air regardless, while these 2 smaller ones have smaller diameter, so they can restrict that a little bit more. Anyway, but you can see how the air flows almost directly in a downwards motion into this box, through the air filter, down to these carbs. They do go a little bit more outwards to these outer boots, but that's why they're a little bit larger. That's why it's important to keep your air box with these older style carbs with the slide valves and everything. Pop this back in, get this air box installed, or cleaned and then installed, and then let's worry about electronics again. Well, it still has some scuff marks. That's so much shinier. Almost mirror-like. I'm gonna call that. There's a little bit of a rust patch there too, but all part of it. Yeah, that looks loads better. So now we can actually slap this back on. Right there, he slots right into that little hole right there. I haven't tightened it in yet, but throttle's all the way down. We got a little bit loose. That way, so it can go all the way down. If I adjust it, yeah, we just have a little bit loose right there at the end. Now let's do a choke cable, which is on this weird giant tower up here. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that here, but there's a little hole right there, and that's where the end of this is going to go into. And the top part of that cable goes through this little tower up here. I was realizing when I pull the choke cable, it pulls the throttle cable. It hits it. This choke rod that goes all the way across, even though it has a notch for this little mount right there. So what I think I'm going to try and do is remove this choke rod and flip this guy to the other side where there's a little bit of rod right here. But I don't know. I'm going to give that a shot. After loosening all the set screws, the choke rod slide out. I can see that where this spot is right here is indeed notched. Or I think I accidentally switched the mount that's here with the mount that's over right here. And that's an easy fix. I just got to slide this whole rod out. Make sure I don't lose any of these set screw blocks. So the rod is now reinstalled. All the chokes work like it's supposed to. Nothing hits, nothing is bad. If I do the throttle, that all works good. There's a little bit of tension, like how I said it before. Probably can't see it because it's so dark. That's good, and that's good. Means all the, oh, I forgot I have to put the carbs back in. I forgot about that. That's, we have our choke cable back there. We have our throttle cable in. We have all of our clamps for the boots to the cylinder or boots to the airbox. Now, all we have to do is get the electronics back and situated, clean out the other airbox that goes back here, fit that. I'm honestly probably going to try and run it before I fit that airbox, just to see if it does run better. It probably will still have some hiccups considering it's looking kind of for an air restriction. That's kind of weird to say, but that's kind of how these things run. There's a certain amount of air comes in. Nice. That was a pain, but that was because I was stupid. Every single one bowl drain screws were loose because I never tightened them. So I just watched every single one of them simultaneously leak out as I pulled the vacuum off. They're all tight now. And let's try that again. Ah, yeah, our vacuum line's not plugged. Okay, let's get something to plug that. Just curious. Okay, I think we're starving of this fuel, so it's running super lean, I think. Really larger jets. Okay, I'm gonna put my hand over it, over the intake, and it revved down, which means it needs more air and less fuel, okay? Okay, so I can keep it revved up by turning it just a little bit, and I mean a very little. But then after I hit a certain point, it starts dying down. So I imagine that means that my main jet is too big. So my little bits of input is allowing enough fuel to go in. But anything more than that, it's letting the needle rise up too much and letting way too much. So I think I need a smaller main jet, but let me give it one more shot. That's idling right. It dies. Okay, yeah, too big of a main jet. Huh, so is the choke on this one a fuel choke or an air choke? No, it must be a fuel choke because we're adding too much fuel in when I rev up. I've never heard it rev up that high. That's really exciting. I just don't think it's warmed up all the way, but... Oh! Where'd it go? Yeah, you're having misfires. I think you're way too lean.
What's lean?
You're not getting enough fuel. Now we know that when you give the choke, it revs right up, so it's getting it the fuel it wants. Because the choke actually cuts air. On this model, it cuts air.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you more fuel. Either I made it worse or better, or both. Rev it a little bit.
It's not turning off.
We just gotta push it back up the hill. It's not gonna be fun. Oh, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to take all the airbox out like we did before. You know what? What the heck, dude? Your airbox isn't even on your carbs. Yeah, your airbox isn't even on your carb. So, I mean, it's mostly pulling through your airbox, but it means it's not limiting your air, which means you're getting more air than you're supposed to. which makes it sense that when you pull this and you're cutting off your air, and it runs better. So it could be that your airbox just fell off. Stupid idea number 2 with duct tape.
They cover one or both?
We'll find out. Well, we're not covering both, because then you're getting absolutely no air. Okay, it needs adjusting, but still. Okay, let's put your airbox back on and let's take it for a ride. You're missing the foam liner in your airbox. Because remember, it degraded and was completely destroyed. Remember that? We had to throw that away?
Yeah.
It's an air restrictor. You got brakes now. More gas, more gas. More gas. More gas, dude. Less clutch. There you go.
First, my hands are sweaty, so my grip on the bar. I mean, you'll feel it too. Like once you get it in first, like it's very finicky.
What do you mean finicky?
Like if you let go a little bit of gas, it'll just cut.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to go down there, but I was like, if I can't make it back up.
Okay. I mean, here, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, this is nice, dude. I'm gonna take it for a spin.
This is one of those moments where, like, if he crashes, like me as a person, I don't really know what I'll do. Like, would I put the camera? Would I run with the camera? Would you just see me run towards that red light in the far away distance? Who knows? That's really
Dude, that is fantastic. That is a thrill.
Did you put it? How'd you stop it like that?
Huh?
You just held on clutch?
Yeah, pulling clutch and kick it off.
Yeah.
Dude, that is fantastic. Wow. Yeah, because I was like, wow, this first gear is really fast, and I kick in second, and I full it, and I was like, oh. It's dark, so it feels like you're going a lot faster. Yeah. You can't see anything. Dude, all the issues we had before, gone.
We need to get that foam thing, or keep the duct tape on it.
Well, the foam is a filter. We should have it. You want to give it a shot again?
Yeah.
Just be careful, okay? We do need to adjust the front brake. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making your pads a little bit wider out initially, so that first bit of throw isn't wasted extending to get to contacting. We want it really near it. You just have to, rev it up a little bit more, and you have to slowly let off the clutch. Oh no. There you go. More gas, more gas. What do you think, dude? Oh.
It's fun. For sure.
Is the front brake too much now? Is it way too much?
I mean, look, I didn't even press on it.
So right there is you dropping the clutch, basically?
Yeah. No, I did press on it. It is a little too much,
okay,
but...
let me do that. It's going good. What do you have to say about that, mister?
I have to say I need to practice more on the bike, but it's fun. It works. See?
You know what it took to fix it? 2 pieces of duct tape.
Really? Yeah. Just trying to make it up, you're gonna hit on my car? He's him, he's him, he's him. He's him. He's him. He made it up?
Yeah. I just felt around, I was like, nah, that's fine going up. There's a weird spot in the middle of the power range. On low end, you're completely fine. Mid, it still produces power, but there's something weird there. And then high, fine. And you probably just see it in the bare light. But yeah, you can see where it's starting to turn red. There's a little patch right there.
Burn himself on the exhaust. You know
yeah.
how it is.
and tennis shoes.
You know what's so funny though? Like all this makes you want to do is get like a. I know they don't make cafe racers like they used to, but like get a modern day cafe.
I mean, they do sell them. They just sell them in low CC.
Yeah, but like I honestly, because I'm a little baby, I'm kind of okay with low CC.
The only cafes I can think you can buy out of box now are like 250 max, which is fine.
That is really low though.
You still get like 40 horsepower in this.
In this thing?
Yeah, you get 40 in this. At least when it was new. Still pushing probably 30. So this is where this has been sitting for far too long. So it's time to get this out of here, test that alternator, possibly replace the rectifier, and then get working on the carbs again, because that was last point's issue. Yeah, this is quite a mess. Things are overlapping each other and everything. I'm gonna have to disconnect most of this, but for right now I just need the test if this is actually working properly, which I really don't think it is, but you never know. So let's find out. Okay, let's get this thing rigged back up. Okay, that's good. Try this again. Voila! It is on AC, and I'm reading around 5 volts. That's across 2 different pairs, so that's not a good sign for our alternator. So I pulled the manual out, and it doesn't pass the regular test, but it says the alternator should go up to 80 volts, and the output of the rectifier should be around 16.5 volts, which I feel like is high, but you know, who knows, that's what they designed it for, I guess. The AC voltmeter, it says it should be at 80 volts at 5,000 RPM. I was at 1,000 RPM, so there's probably a pretty big difference there. And it says there's another test I can do with the multimeter. Usually, it's kind of hard to test like inductors and everything with continuity mode, but if I at least get some resistance through it, then I know that it's somewhat connected on the inside. So let's try that next. Oh! That means one phase is working. Okay. Yellow and white blue have continuity. Okay, and we got continuity through white green and white blue. So out of the 2 tests for the alternator, because we can't get up to 5,000 RPM right now, I guess we have to avoid the voltage test, but we are getting conductivity test, which means that is at least working. Although it is an alternator, it says it's a permanent magnet alternator, which means it's not worried about like the flux field and everything, which makes sense now I think about it. It says it's supposed to be at 80 volts. Regular alternators basically have 2 sets of coils, the rotor and the stator. One of them you give a voltage supply, and so it energizes, so that way it can create a magnetic field with the other side is rotating, and then you can pull power from that side. Basically, you can also use that field to adjust the amount of voltage that comes out of it. Since this is running at 80 volts, and then we have a regulator, and usually regulators are just to make sure like it stays around, you know, 12 volts and stuff like that in regular systems, but for this one, it's going from all the way up from 80 down to 12, or in the book says 16.5. So that is quite interesting, and that makes more sense why we're only reading 5 volts. Now that those tests are concluded, let's get those plugged back in. Now this guy, I want to read his output. Maybe it's just because we're running at so low RPM. It's outputting 20 volts. Yeah, it's not good. I think for now, I'm gonna leave that unplugged. So later on, we're gonna have to give it a more higher speed test or higher RPM test. I don't know why I didn't do this before I bought the other rectifier, but I really do think that I put a way too big of a main jet in here. I did upsize it a little bit, and I did that because the airbox restriction is a lot less. So it's getting more air, so I thought, oh, I'll give it more fuel then. That might have not been the right play, because it can only pull so much. You know, too much air in. I'm taping over the intake, okay? Now I have half as much intake. Okay, so now we're at 1/4 of the air intake. Well, that certainly is now revving up. Same thing that was causing Miguel's bike not to run was the same thing causing my bike to run. Way too much air. I'm sure the jet size is still an issue for the higher end of the rev range, but right now, not much of a concern. That's tuning for later. Right now, we just need it running enough to pass inspection. Okay, it was outputting 15 volts there at the end, so maybe that is working fine. Maybe it's simply just pulling more power than it's using right now. I'll plug that back in. Yeah, I know I'm not supposed to put a jack in the front of it, but it's just me today, and I just got some brand new tires on this. Geez, are good tires expensive. Anyway, so it's time to get this on there. before anybody tries to call me out, I do have all the torque specifications in a torque wrench that I am following after all of this. I just checked the manual and I found out this actually goes on the other side. So get gloves back on and then try that again. Loosely put on. This should be able to wobble around. I gotta put the chain back on, and this chain is old. It's O-ring, and well, it's got some rust on it. I don't have the new chain here yet. I actually do have more of this chain, but it's for the four-wheeler project. So right now I'm just gonna put this back on, and then when I get the new chain, this is pretty easy to get on and off, so I'll swap that when the new one comes in. Oh, this is ridiculous. I can't get this off because the pedal's on, and I can't get this off because this is on. All I want to do is put the chain on. This is, oh my goodness. Finally, that's off. Yeah, there's some gunk in there. There's a lot. Okay, well, before I get to that, let's get this chain on. So now that that's on, just scrape some of this gunk out and then get all these screws I just took out back in. Yeah, at some point, someone definitely, without question, went in the mud with this thing. Finally, now I can get back to tensioning the rear chain. Now I gotta get these back on there. Okay, there, the exhaust is on. Oh my God. And no more parts left in the parts bag. That's how you know you did it right. Or at least used all the screws somewhere. No, I'm pretty sure they're in the right spot. So now, kickstand down, make sure my front brake works. Forgot, yeah. There we go. Let's get this out of here so I can get some more light on this thing. It's too dark out here. So when I got this bike, I was also given this brand new battery, and it didn't even have the acid in it. You know, I can't say I've ever had to fill up a battery before, but you know, with sulfuric acid, but that's pretty cool. And it's very, very warm. So I guess I'm supposed to let it sit like this, charge it up, and then I'll throw it back into the motorcycle. I charged it overnight and it's at full voltage, and it fit perfectly in here. So let me get that screwed in. So now let's just see if this thing turns on with its new battery and see how it does. Let's do it like this, that way so you can actually see all of the indicators and whatnot. So key, okay, neutral and low oil pressure, that's normal. Right turn switch, left turn switch, horn. That's kind of hideous, but it's fine. Bright, oh, interesting. So dash display, and then brights, but brights isn't on if the dash isn't on, so that's interesting. Turn those off to save power for a second. And then off, there should be no starter button. On, there should be no starter button. Clutch and starter button. Wow. Okay, and I think that's all we need. Oh, let me check the rear brakes. So that kicks on, and this one should also kick it on. It does. Next up, then I guess here. Obviously, when I put my hand over it, it runs a lot better. When I take it out, it starts to die down. So yeah, so it needs a little bit more of an air restriction. So I got the gas tank out, and me and Miguel, we found the old gas cap. And I realized the guy who painted this, painted into the parts where you screw the screws into. So I found the tap, and so I just gotta clean the holes out with the tap slowly to make sure, you know, I'm not gonna cross thread anything. I've never actually gotten to look inside the tank. Regardless, let's see if this fits in there still. Oh, that's nice. It's a little crusty on the inside and dusty. Nothing that good wash or two wouldn't be able to fix. It's nice. It feels good having that back on for the first time, since I've had it at least. Nice. I don't like that rattle though. I guess what I'll do is I'll put a spring through this screw here. I'll just have it spring pushed up a little bit. I'm sure that'll keep it nice and in place. So yeah, the tank just slots on there like normal. And I've already replaced the fuel filter and fuel pump. So those are brand new. Whole tank is on there. Quite nice. So last time we worked on this, we did a little loop around, and my fault, I lost the footage before that of when we changed the brakes. And we saw a mysterious white powder when we did that, and well...
Yeah, and just to be safe, I licked it. Then we went to the doctors, and we did confirm it was asbestos. So don't just white powder off 1979 bikes. Don't you know, ingest.
You know, you say that they're gonna believe that you actually did
That's
that.
fine. That's fine.
Anyway, so the new box strictly said asbestos free, which is great. Those went in perfectly, the new brake. Unfortunately, missed that on camera, but yeah, that went in great. The battery's dead, which is probably because of the display that's here. So we're probably gonna have to put a kill switch on just the display when this thing is fully off or something. So we're charging the battery now. To finish up the road legal side of this, we are putting in the new front headlight. We are fixing the horn because for some reason there's no wires coming up to the horn plugs up here. What else are we doing? Oh, new handle grips. This one's new. That one's old. I think that's it.
Oh, air filter.
Yeah.
Engine filter.
That way so we don't have to duct tape over one of the intakes to cause a restriction. So new air filter goes in there. Yeah, I think we can get it for a test ride because the old light, I think we should mention, the old light here has this plastic housing. All the screw holes on this thing are cracked. It's old and had incandescent light.
Yeah, that was really weak, so.
It was really weak. I mean, it looked cool, but it was pretty much inefficient in the night unless you're going pretty slow. When we did that drive past, so you could barely see anything.
Yeah.
So these guys, I'm sure we could tighten them up, but they're bent both backwards like that, so they're not pointing straight. And like I said, this thing is cracked. So we have a whole new housing and we have a whole new bulb. The only thing is we do have to change how some of this stuff is mounted. So yeah, we're losing a little bit of purity, but hey, we're actually gonna be able to see with the headlight. So, and make it road legal.
So the last owner obviously did an Akira slide. It didn't work out. The bike fell. So when I do Akira slides, we'll damage the bike again, but at least I can do it one time. You know, that's the whole goal here. That's always
you can still see with the headlight afterwards.
Yeah.
So this is a bunch of intake foam. Here's that top bracket. All I did is I set it down and I traced around it with the box cutter. So now these two, that guy just fits right in here on top of the backing. It's down perfect. And this guy right here slots in underneath and presses that down in. So now this top piece goes on, presses it all down and in. That's done. Okay, for the purists.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
So we took the angle grinder and the flap disc, sanded it all out, and for the people who said that that was really bad, the old ones were cracked and were going to fall off. Sure, we could weld that, or we could put brand new arms on a brand new metal housing. And additionally, if we look under here, one part I couldn't get to the angle grinder, there's rust, a bunch of it. And I got a bunch of it off of here. Obviously I got a bunch off of here. So we're just making it better, and you just couldn't see the rust before.
We did have ear protection in the form of AirPods. We were listening to your favorite song that you can put in the comments, because that's literally what we were listening to while we were angle grinding. Your favorite song, no one else is.
And totally not because I forgot all the hearing protection. Yep. Okay, next part, let's get this thing mounted. So, haven't quite finished installing this. All the wiring is done though. Obviously we still have some hanging out that we need to put in, and these aren't tightened on yet. Let's give it a test for our wiring. Pretty much everything went back in. We just needed to change some of the connector styles. But so high beam, left turn signal, it's also working in the back. Good. And then low beam, just show them that we also have the ambers on for regular middle. But yeah, so now we have new air filter. The headlights actually work and stuff now. And we have both new handle grips, and we reinstalled the push buttons for the display. If we press this one, very nice. So what's next? Just put some gas in it?
Put some gas.
Right, we also put fuel filter in here because there wasn't one before. Put the seat on?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's take it for a spin. Yeah, there you go. Put some gas in it. Yeah, you gotta push the green. Yeah, it's one of those dumb ones. So how many kicks do you think it's gonna take?
40.
40? Yeah, let me check your fuel level. Fuel filter does not have much fuel. Oh, you're off. Yeah, that would have helped, right? Put fuel in it. Okay, so you're on now. I'm gonna guess 15. Oh, choke. Completely forgot about choke. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Oh, so close. Okay, there he goes. Good? Bad? What do you think?
Nice, good.
Yeah, it's a little bit smoky.
It sounds like, yeah, but it sounds like it's revving. You wanna try?
Sure. Should be first kick now, right?
One kick, one kick. One kick.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
What is that?
It's just a backfire. We have the carbs not tuned in the slightest right now. Okay. Clearly I'm rusty driving a motorcycle.
Me too. Did you go to second?
Yeah. Dude, that first revs out. How far did you pull throttle?
Not that far. I probably went 20 miles an hour.
Oh, I didn't check the speedometer. How do we always forget to check the speedometer?
Because we're just like out of my, I don't want to die, 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 I don't want to die. Don't look down, look at the road, look at the road.
But yeah, once that warms up, okay, I will admit, on the low end, it's pretty good. And the middle end, it loses a little bit. Then once it gets past that high end kicks right back in. Yeah, so we are gonna have to fiddle with the carbs a little bit, but otherwise, dude, it runs really nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think we're a little rich with the, backfire there, but you wanna give it a little zip around?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to be wearing better safety stuff. Our headlight was a little bit far. Couldn't really see the road with it, so yeah, let me just adjust your light there. Okay, rev's a little high, but.
So I'm going up the second hill. I'm like, let me push the second. For some reason I push the neutral. I push up again, I'm still in neutral. But I'm still moving forward. So I push back and then I'm scared, I'm shaking. So I push back down the second and then.
Just take off?
Yeah, take off, yeah. I mean, this thing, I don't know how to communicate it via words, but this thing is running. It feels like it wants to turn on and run, which is the first time it's ever been like that.
Yeah, before it's just like, it doesn't feel like running.
Yeah.
Now it wants to run and doesn't want to rev down and stuff. Okay, so we have front lights, just tighten those down and get this thing legal. Is that it?
Oh, you know what we should try?
What? God dang, that's so loud.
It's so loud, yeah. Yeah,
we thought that was broken. No,
yeah, we
nothing
just
wrong with
got
it.
tying down these turn signals and get it legal.
Yeah, that's just because the old turn stocks had it screwed through a piece of plastic. That was the old housing, and since we're not going through the housing, because this was all one bolt, now it's two separate bolts. This doesn't have anything clamped down on, so I guess we'll get some washers. No, that's probably not the greatest idea, but hey, it'll get these tightened on there. Wiring-wise, you can see we cleaned it up pretty well. I mean, you can still see a handful down here, but we'll get that all protected up. We gotta get that fixed. We're doing all the wrong things.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it was fun. I forgot to check the speedometer again.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you when you're coming to a stop, and you're keeping it first, you just hold the clutch all the way down?
Yeah, worth it, dude. Yeah, it's fun. Well, yeah, but we definitely have to lower the idle a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, I think we got it good. So now it's time to work on my bike. See, there's no headlight there. Why is it not there? The original plastic housing for the light actually is cracked in pieces. I didn't realize that when I got the bike, but when I took out the two bolts here on the side and I got it back, the whole back of it was cracked. It's in the shed, so I'm not gonna grab it. And the bulb is actually burnt out in the end, so nothing really to salvage there. So went online, got a new housing. This one's metal, so no cracking, as well as a brand new headlight. Versus on Miguel's bike, how the old connector on his was not the same as a 3-pin. This does already have a 3-pin, and that just plugs in just like that. So now if I turn on the bike, headlight, yeah, it's bright. And I also have the brights already right there. Notice my ambers and everything aren't on because I don't have those separate wires connected. Those obviously don't fit part of the 3-pin. So yeah, I believe one of these is standard on light. I have to check, but I'll wire that in. That's really basic. So I've had some complications. As you can see, the back of the gauges are off, and well, I've actually already had this all mounted up and working great, all except for the ring light and the amber ring. And so what I wanted to do was, you know, add some functionality to that, aka have those maybe always on when the key is on, or have the amber flash when, you know, the turn signal's flash. And I've been reading out the manual, just trying to trace what is the most efficient one that's through a fuse, and I don't want to use the ignition circuit, which does actually come up here. I don't want to use the circuit for the kill switch because that does obviously go through the handle up there. The headlight fuse I don't want to use because when I have the off lever on off, well then the ring light wouldn't be on. It would be on with the regular one. I want something that's always on when the bike is on. Just something really low energy. I checked the ring lights, 3 watt, completely fine. And so yeah, the only one that would fit is the signal fuse, which runs some of the gauges like the oil pressure light, the gear indicator such as neutral, and I also have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 indicator on here as well. And so it would run all that stuff. And that sounds pretty basic. And I just have to check for the orange and green wire, which should only be in 2 places, the 2 lights that I just mentioned. But when I check here, it's a solid orange wire, which means for some reason, either they changed the color coding on this unit, or they're running it straight from the switch, which is right down here. Because this is the ignition switch, traced it all the way back to the fuse box, and this orange comes all the way back up from the fuse box. So now I gotta check, is that orange truly the solid orange? The orange green, so a little bit odd. So I have the multimeter right here, and it's connected to the orange green fuse directly. And so I've pulled all the fuses except for the orange green one as well to make sure we're not feeding back to the orange one through the fuse. And so when I touch here, you can hear the multimeter beep. So even though this is color coded straight, just regular straight orange, it is actually the orange green, which is good because that means that we can actually tap off of this and we can feed it down to the regular ring light, which, like I said, only 3 watt, plenty enough for a 10 amp fuse. So the only thing that's on that fuse is the turn signal relay, the neutral light, the oil pressure light, a rear stop switch. Yeah, and that's everything that's on it, and there's a 10 amp fuse on, so you know, 120 watts capable. I'm just gonna tap off of that and it will never notice an extra 3 watts. And I realized the rear stop switch and the front stop switch are not like the kickstand and the seat cover. Those are brake switches. So now that I realized that, it gave me the idea that since my headlight does both white ring and an amber ring, I think what I want to do is I want to do the amber ring connected to the brake switch. You brake, it'll make the ambers turn on. I don't know why the brakes would be, you know, indicated in the front. Maybe it just looks cool. That way, so the white ring can be on all the time. And I did check it with the lab bench power supply. If the white ring is on and you power the amber's way brighter than the white. So white will be all the time, and when you brake, do ambers. I grabbed some 16 gauge 3 wire. This is stranded, this is not solid core. And so I think what I'll do is I'll put connectors on here. Whoa, hold up. Before you guys get upset that I cut stuff, I didn't cut anything. I didn't have to. I went around and I checked for wires, and I realized that down here, the brake connector is just a simple banana connector. If we look up here, while the first 2 incandescent bulbs, one for the oil pressure switch and for the neutral indicator, I realized, yeah, this has the gear indicator down here, and that does have a banana connector. So I just whipped up this little adapter cable right here. I just wired them in parallel. That way, so when you plug them in, they just go down to their own individual wires, and then when it's connected through ground, like it does in the light, then it'll just make a complete circuit and make the light go. Let me plug this in real quick. So those are just connected in. So if I hit the key on, then you can't see it, but on the wall back there, the brake is working. So yeah, so it's that simple. And so now I can just plug this right into the headlight. Simple as we take our main connector, plug that in. We want our ring light to be on all the time. So now we have our ring light on all the time whenever the bike's on. When we press the brakes, turns the amp. I like that a lot. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think? Quite like it. Key, we've got a ring light, brake light, turn on our main low beam, and then our high beam. Low beam and our high beam are still on, but we can do the outer ring change. So that all works fine. Welcome to the trash can. It's time to look at the Airbox. This is the old air filter. Just take some of the material, this stuff, and just pack it back in here like it was originally. Well, as you can see, I put the old factory Airbox. I put the new foam back on the old air filter. Whoever modified this last, I'll tell you, put this rubber seal here and it looked like siliconed it. It looks decent enough. So that just goes in there. That's an M5 screw that just pinches it up in there, and I'll just have to make a top plate, but this should make it where literally everything mounts back together as it did factory. It just makes things simpler, even though it's maybe not better. But yeah, I'm gonna have to make a top plate. Back up, side covers back on. Now we're down to tank time. So I put a brand new fuel pump on this, and it's not this one because I wanted to rinse this out, so I put the old one back on. Since this one does have noticeable rust, gritty, and when you look in there, it's brown. So I know for sure that is rust. So I picked up some evapor rust. I'm gonna pour some of that in there, make sure it's leaking out, and we'll just, I guess, let it sit overnight. While the evapor rust drains, I noticed that there's some mud in this exhaust mount. And I'm pretty sure that's one of those bugs I got in there, you know, they pack mud. So I tried to scrape out what I could with, you know, a pick. I think I'm just gonna run a tap really quick through there, you know, just make sure I pull everything out. Thankfully, I had the right tap size. Looks like it's M8, that fits right, and that's about the same diameter. Let's see if I can clean these out. I guess today's just gonna have to be a slow day. This is with the one with all the mud in it, and I can tell because I can just see mud dripping out from the tap right here. There we go. Now this screw should just... Now I have to go through and tap the rest of them because some of them don't look so great. I just finished tapping all the holes, you know, just cleaning them up. There was only really one or two bad ones. This is going to be the first time the exhaust actually ever been on. Whoever tried to put these on before stripped out the first few threads here. That one's fine, it's maybe missing the first thread. That one's good. The one over here is missing a lot of it, like maybe half of the thread. The other four over there, completely fine. So yeah, a little rough, but at least there is at least some thread for all of it. Now this is all re-tapped and cleaned out, I'll put all the bolts in. So I just finished tightening them on. These two bolts over here on this end, tightened just fine. These two bolts right here, tightened just fine. This bolt and this bolt, tightened just fine. However, this one, it's just barely on there. If I go anything more, it's just gonna snap back. This one over here, half a thread, maybe it's on. Like I said, these were the two that were really stripped out already. So yeah, they're barely on there. If I really want to use these, I either have to go with screw size up and re-tap these one screw size bigger, which would be M10 since these are M8. So I'm not going to accept the M9 as a thread, and that's really hard to get. So if this starts to wobble out, I have to re-tap and put new screws in those. But otherwise, the rest of them are on. Yeah, this one's still a little loose just because I can't tighten this one on there anymore. But for sake of keeping exhaust in, it'll be good enough for the moment. I think now that's everything to get this thing running again. Can we turn the fuel on? So now that it runs, I'm just gonna see if I can get it up the driveway or not. That's fairly steep, and I just, yes, I know I don't have all the gear yet. I'm still waiting on stuff, but I put some thick layers on, and well, I'm just gonna go do a little loop around here. So I took it down the street and back. I can't get through mid-range. See if I can do some tweaks on that. Well, you can see the carbs are out, and that's for a very good reason. You see this fuel line? Yeah, that's supposed to be flexible. Anyway, so this thing was like drip leaking. So I'd lose maybe like a puddle about this big twice a week around from it dripping. You can see the little puddles here. This thing has been inside, but we had to take it out because, you know, it was leaking gas. So I brought it out about a week ago. I changed the fuel line and I put it back, and it was even more of a puddle. So then yesterday I did it again. I changed it to a different type of tubing, thinking that it would be, you know, a little bit more elastic. Still fuel line, and it's leaked even more. And so just a minute ago I replaced another line, and so I went and grabbed new 5/16 inch fuel line from AutoZone, and I put that in there, and it leaked even more, like literally just actively spewing right out. And so I got tired, and so I, as you can see here, took the carbs out, because I'm replacing everything. I'm making just one line all the way, removing all of these plastic T-joints where it's leaking around, and well, that way so we just have all brand new 5/16 inch fuel line, no more of these spring clamp. Trust me, I like the idea of the spring clamp of, you know, constant pressure, but it's just they're not clamping nearly enough, and finding the right size of them is like hit and miss, it seems like. So all one line, and while the carbs are out, I'm going to open up the bowls, make sure anything is, you know, all that gunk is out of there. Even though I already cleaned them, it's been a few months, you know, I might as well inspect them since I went to the effort of taking them out. Also, since this thing is running lean at idle, and I know it's running lean at idle because I have to have the choke all the way out, I think I'm going to put bigger idle jets. Otherwise, it looks clean in there. The diaphragm seems to be working fine. But yeah, I'll just change out the idle jets and go from there. Well, it turns out this was pretty darn necessary. So all the bowls are off. I just wanted to check my job of resoldering in these copper tubes, brass tubes, that I had to solder in the hole and then re-drill out because the original person who tried to mess with this ripped these guys out completely and mangled them. So this is my actual fix job. You probably already saw that. I also adjusted the float bowl height. Additionally, here is the old idle jets that were in there, and well, you can see they look pretty terrible, and that's because I had to drill these guys out because they were so clogged and stuck in there. So I have been running on this jet right here, which looks pretty darn similar to the original. However, I noticed something that's wrong with this. This is size 15 on it. Those over there are size 40. So yeah, that would explain why I have no low end at all. Also, this is a completely different shape, unfortunately. It's got the side holes and everything, but the hole is at the very top. On all the other ones, the hole is on the very bottom. I also have this guy right here, which is the same shape, but it's missing the side holes, but it does have the bottom hole in the same spot. Also, the gas that was in here, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a dusty pattern there, and that's straight up opaque. Like, you can't see through it. So that was good to get out of there. It looks like the main jet size originally was a 92.5, and whatever I have in there now is bigger. So the fact that when I'm full throttle, or at least half throttle, and I give it a little bit more, and it does nothing more since then, unless I like play with it up, I think at the high end I'm rich. And at the low end, I'm lean. So I'm going to put in the original main jet, which are the 92.5. I'm going to measure what this new main jet is, because it's way too big, I think. Because I am running the factory airbox, at least close to factory. That might be my issue. So here's the old original ones. You can see how like blacked out they are. You can also see how the heads on them, oh, not really with this camera, but they're stripped out and partially drilled out due to me trying to get them out of the carb. I think what I want to do is I want to file back the top of them and then refile in the flathead groove on them. That way so I can reuse these. That way so they'll be factory again. And if this doesn't work, then, well, this is already a scrap to me, really, so getting something out of scrap will be a lot better. But yeah, if that doesn't work, I'll drill this out to size 40 and then drill in the side holes. Okay, so that took a good second, but you can see they are a little bit shinier than they were before. They're not pitch black. Here is the 0.4 millimeter drill bit. You can see that goes right in the end. Trust me, that didn't do that before. It was that clogged. I didn't drill out none of the brass, but any of the junk material that was in there definitely was totally gunked up. That would have never run. Also, I believe this is a 0.5 or 0.6 millimeter drill bit, and that goes straight through these side holes. Pretty flush. I've run these through the ultrasonic once at the very beginning and once after I cleaned them. And then I also ran the air compressor through this, so, you know, making sure any junk that's in there is completely out of there. I would hate to, you know, put this all back together and deal with that, especially since I had to file back the grooves so I could actually use the screwdriver on them, because the screw extractor removed that because these things were so badly damaged. Because trust me, they were not coming out the conventional way. So now I have to put those back in. I also went and I cleaned the bowls out really good because there is a white powder over all of it. I've already put in the pilot jets that, you know, I had to fix and everything, and then I replaced all of the main jet from the new kit back to the old ones, going to a smaller main jet size. Hopefully going to fix that. Also increasing our pilot jet size should also help our low end. So hopefully that's all good. And I've already attached the new fuel line, so now I don't have to deal with that old leaky one, hopefully, fingers crossed. Put everything back together. So, you know, for you it's going to be like... By the way, quick trick is that if you can't get your carbs on, because they're getting really stiff on those boots, is you can put a ratchet strap all the way around them and you can crank it tight. Usually that just pulls them right in, and that's what I just did here. Now, you might think that's the first time. I've had this in and out 3 times now, just today alone. So yeah, I know for sure this trick works pretty well. So if you're having stuck carbs getting in there, that works a treat. Just like that, it's back together. That, oh my god, I hate putting these carbs back in. They just get so stuck in there. There's just not enough room between the airbox and the old boots. Back out again, so you can put that back on. I did just turn it on. The low end, honestly, I don't even know if it's better. I will say it starts up way better, but I would say that it does not idle. I mean, it idles, but still just high. And now it's not liking the rev up between 2 to 3, but it's liking the be above that. But regardless, it's back together. And I'm on 3 turns out on the air to fuel ratio. I tried that both on 2 turns out and 3 turns out. Basically no difference right now. I mean, we're not riding it, so it's not under load. So I'll have to see what that's like. But I think I might give this a test ride. The major thing is it's not leaking, which is the whole reason why I did all that. So that's a positive. So I took it for a spin. I went about 8 miles-ish. If you notice, my tachometer back cover has been taken off. And that's because both of my tachometer light bulbs went out. Both of them. So I don't know if one was out and then the other one was just kind of like bright enough to cover the entire thing. Or, you know, vice versa. But all I know is that I just checked both of them. And both of them are dead. So I'm wondering if my alternator is giving a little bit more power than it should. But then again, this might just be really old bulbs and, you know, them not being on in such a long time and a little bit of a shock to them, you know. So, but most of my night drive without a tachometer, obviously you can hear the engine. But yeah, but I will say for the first half that I did have it illuminated, the issue of getting past 6,000 RPM, no longer an issue. It goes all the way up. As long as you hold it, it'll go all the way up. The low end issue of getting past, you know, 2 to 3. After you let it warm up and you drive around for a little bit, not an issue anymore. So, I am quite happy. Under load, the 1 to 3,000 RPM is not an issue anymore, which is great. But yeah, so now I just have to replace these 2 bulbs. Probably some generic bulb, hopefully, fingers crossed. But otherwise, yeah, no, it ran really nice. And so far, I don't see any drips. I enjoy it. So I just ran to the store. Here's the old bulbs. Here's the new ones. The only difference is this one's like 14.4 volt. These say 12 volt. Honestly, when it comes to this, who cares? You know, that's charging voltage. I do really like how these motorcycles, all it takes is 1 wrench, 8mm. You undo 4 bolts, and this whole thing just pops out. Like, sure, I'll probably have to readjust my headlight angle, but you know, that just pops down like that. Take your wrench, put it around the boots. You just pop, pop, pop. There we go. That's all out, so now I can reach these 2 boots, yeah, and then just put them in. That's just access to everything that quick with an 8mm. Just don't want to over tighten it, so I'm just gently feeling the limit of that, and that seems pretty good. I'll have to adjust the headlight angle again, but still, that's it. That's all it takes, and it's freshly illuminated again. So, how long has this been sitting?
Let's call it 3 months.
Okay, so it's been sitting 3 months. Just checked the oil level, filled up the tires to back up to air pressure. We took off the headlamp because high beam connector wasn't plugged in, so we plugged that back in. Oh, battery was dead.
Battery died.
Charged that up, but since it's kickstart, he can still start it, even if the battery's dead, which is awesome. Oh wait, we put your license plate on, because you just got that in the mail, or you picked that up.
Legal.
So we're gonna go test drive this now. Things we haven't done, we haven't put the actual gas cap cover on, and this mirror needs to be replaced. The glass is gone. Otherwise though, you get to have your first test drive. I've already driven mine around a little bit.
Yep.
Alright, special moment.
Oh wow, you're gonna actually do the peel.
We good?
I didn't even know you had to take that off. Fresh for pollen.
Yeah.
You wanna try and roll it when you're on it? But yeah, let's see how many kicks. I'm gonna say 3. Almost. A little faster. Just let it idle for a second. Well, dude, I think you're ready.
I'm gonna take a couple laps
Okay.
and then I'll come back.
It just died. So he just grabbed his gloves because we forgot them. But gas station time, considering I'm on reserve.
Retard.
Pretty good.
Worst fear happened.
But you gotta learn you pull in the clutch before you get to the stop. But no, you did really good.
outside.
Is this a motorcycle?
No. As soon as he comes out, I'm leaving.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I could hear the giddiness in your voice.
It's fear.
He's kickstart, I'm electric start.
So you're smarter.
No, actually if his battery dies, he can kickstart. If mine dies, I'm done. Okay, Miguel, opinions. First drive. This is your first drive on it.
Really fun. It's scary, but it's fun. I have to be responsible. Can't be funny on the road. So it is fun though. It's very nice. I feel very in tune with a vehicle for the first time in my life.
How many miles do you think we did?
It's the gas station. I zeroed it out. So.
Okay. Because I'm at 71.4, and I think I started today at 58. Huh?
I'm at 7.9.
Okay, that makes sense. That wasn't even that much driving, but we got to drive around, surprise a friend, and we'll park it for another day. This light is pretty bright.
Mine light isn't that bright.
Your light's pretty darn bright. I mean, even, oh, your brights are on right now. That's main, that's high. Yeah, see, this is my main. That's my high. I'm gonna have to be careful, there's kids on the road.
Yeah, I just started to speed up on that turn.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Turned the corner and there was just kids in the dark.
No, it really was like a GTA mission today.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one car? It was here, it was like halfway. It was just in the middle.
Oh, yeah, for some reason. Yeah, it's on footage. I got it, yeah. Okay, next mission. How are you gonna get it up there? Are you gonna try and drive it up?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this one might be a walk it, but I mean, if you want to give it a shot. The car on the street. Oh, you're gonna have to? Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that bike is burning oil. Almost there. It runs really nice. Hey there, hey there, hey there.
The Honda CB400T Hawk, 1979. Japanese people made it, and I'm riding. As you can see, I'm really sweaty because I was scared the whole time, and it's really hot in our location.
Yeah, it's like 80 something, isn't it?
The bike runs awesome. It's hard to start because I have weak little baby legs in its kickstart. It is burning oil. I don't know if you can see the vapors.
Yeah, I did check the oil level before. We're good, so we'll do have to check that one more time, but it's a 79, I guess.
Yeah, it's double my age.
Yeah, both of our age, yeah, combined.
So,
but yeah, all that's left is buff up the chrome a little bit, clean the tank, reprimer it, repaint that, maybe get these two dents, go to a place for that. Anything else? I mean, we did a lot to this.
We gotta find the...
Oh, right, yeah, we need a new mirror. But I think I did the total of how much, and between the two of us, including getting our license and both bikes and fixing them, was $2,800. So
yeah, and if you want a 4-cylinder right now, 2025, they're around $5,000.
oh, for a new one.
New, so
well, depending on the make, some of them are really expensive.
yeah, but I mean, the cheapest one I could find was $5,000. So do the math. Who wins?
Yeah, considering I think it was $250 per license. So out of the $2,800, $500 of that was our licenses. So that was $2,300. His bike was $500. Mine was $600. Yeah, I know it's making some weird sounds. Oh, your gas is dripping. You're dripping gas right on your engine. No, you're dripping it from your overflow on your right carb. Here, turn that. It's hot. Yeah, that needs to be turned off. Oh, yeah, that's great. Okay, well, that's another thing to fix in the next video. Oh, that's a lovely way to end this. Okay, well that's eventful.
So everything goes wrong, nothing ever happens, and then everything works out. You decide what stage we're on in the comments below.
I think this is probably a pretty good wrap up. All that's left, we have to do this. Paint and primer, re-chrome, new mirror, call this one good. I don't know, should we tell them that not in this video, but the next video we're gonna do painting and do a little bit more restoration on cosmetic stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this video, legal and run. Next video, cosmetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.